615 Columbanus, Irish monastery founder, poet, and saint penitential, dies. 947 Berthold, Duke of Bavaria. 955 Edward, King of England. 946-955, dies at 32. In 1249 Ajoub, Sultan of Egypt, dies. In 1407 Louis, Duke of Orleans, brother of King Charles V, assassinated in Paris by forces of the Duke of Burgundy, John the Fearless. In 1457 Ladislaus V the Posthumous, RPD dynasty, and King of Bohemia. 1453-57, King of Hungary and Croatia. 1440-44, and Duke of Austria. 1440-57, dies at 17. In 1503 Bona of Savoy, Italian Duchess of Milan, dies at 54. In 1503 Margaret of York, Margaret of Burgendy, wife of Charles I, Duke of Burgundy, dies at 57. In 1511 Mahmud Begada, Sultan of Gujarat, successfully captured Pavagadh and Junagadh forts in battles, dies at 66. In 1511 Princess Anne of York, fifth daughter of King Edward Roman IV, dies at 36. In 1558 Charles, Earl of Lalaing, Land Guardian of the Netherlands, dies at 52. In 1572 Il Bronzino, Agnolo di Cosimo, Italian Mannerist artist Eleanor de Toledo, her son and poet, dies at 69. In 1585 Thomas Tallis, English composer, dies at 80. In 1613 Charles Philippe of Croÿ, Marquis of Havré, Spanish Netherlands military general and confidant to King Philip Roman II of Spain, dies at 64. In 1616 Richard Hakluyt, English writer who promoted the colonization of America. B. 1552. In 1682 Claude Lorrain, French painter known for his landscapes. B. 1604. In 1694 Jean Talon, French official in New France, first Intendant of New France, organized 800 king's daughters, dies at 68. In 1709 Hans Willem Baron Bentinck, Dutch-English Earl of Portland, dies at 60. In 1752 Conrad Michael Schneider, German organist, Kapellmeister, and composer, dies at 79. In 1763 Friedrich Graf von Seckendorf, German soldier who commanded Austrian imperial forces. B. 1673. In 1769 Constantine Mavrocordatos, Greek reforming Prince of Wallachia and Prince of Moldavia who abolished serfdom, dies in captivity at 58. In 1787 Anton Schweitzer, German composer, dies at 52. In 1804 Richard Graves, English writer The Spiritual Quixote, dies at 89. In 1806 Roger Newdigate, British politician, sat in the House of Commons. 1742-80, dies at 87. In 1807 Jean-François Rewbell, French lawyer and politician, dies at 60. In 1814 Elbridge Gerry, American politician, signer of Declaration of Independence, 5th Vice President of the U.S. under James Madison, 1813-14, and namesake of gerrymander, dies at 70. In 1817 William C. Claiborne, American military officer and politician, U.S. Senator from Louisiana, 1817, first Governor of Louisiana, 1812-16, dies of a liver ailment at about 40, birth date disputed. In 1826 Johann Bode, German astronomer Titius Bode Law, dies at 79. In 1829 Ritter and Christina Parodi, Sardinian Siamese twins, die at 8 months. In 1848 Alfred Julius Becher, Austrian journalist and composer, dies at 45. In 1848 John Barrow, 1st Baronet, English statesman and founder of the Royal Geographical Society, dies at 84. In 1853 Francisco André y Castler, Spanish choirmaster and composer, dies at 67. In 1853 Friedrich Schneider, German keyboardist, composer, and conductor, dies at 67. In 1864 Friedrich Georg Wilhelm von Struve, German-Russian astronomer, dies at 71. In 1865, Joseph Leopold Z. Wagner, Czech organist and composer, dies at 41. In 1865, René de Russy, West Indian U.S. Brigadier General, dies at about 75. In 1872, 10 Bears Parawase Men, American poet Comanche chief, dies. In 1890, William Roman III, King of the Netherlands 1849-90 and the last male king until 2013, dies at 73. In 1902, Walter Reed, U.S. Army physician and bacteriologist who proved mosquitoes transmit yellow fever, dies at 51. In 1910, Holly Harvey Crippen, Dr. Crippen, American homeopath and first killer to be caught with the aid of wireless telegraphy, dies by hanging at 48. In 1911, Bernard Tancred, South African cricket batsman, 2 Tests, Northern Cape, dies at 46. In 1916, Eduard Napravnik, Czech conductor and composer, dies at 77. In 1916, Leonard Moon, English cricket batsman, 4 Tests, Cambridge University CC, Middlesex CCC, dies in WWI action at 38. In 1920, Mohammed ibn Adollah, Somalian resistance's leader, Mad Moller, dies. In 1923, Ermas Demetru Demitiscu Baziu, Romanian writer, Bizarre Pages, commits suicide at 40. In 1926, Frederick Ayres, American composer from the Plains, dies at 50. In 1927, Stanisław Zybisiewski, Polish writer and dramatist, Homo sapiens, Zur Psychologie des Individuums, dies at 59. In 1929, Arvid Kleven, Norwegian flautist and composer, dies at 29. In 1931, Evert Cornelis, Dutch conductor and pianist, dies at 46. In 1932, Percy Pitt, English composer, BBC, dies at 63. In 1934, E.A. Wallis Budge, English Orientalist and museum curator, British Museum, dies at 77. In 1934, Giovanni Binero, Italian road cyclist, Aro d'Italia, General Classification 1921, 22, 26, dies at 39. In 1935, Louise Mack, Australian poet and novelist, dies at 65. In 1937, George Albert Boulanger, Belgian naturalist, dies at 79. In 1937, Jagadish Chandra Bose, Indian physicist, polymath and writer, dies at 78. In 1937, Louis Victor Saar, Dutch-American composer, dies at 68. In 1938, August Kiel, Dutch actor Ophüp van Zegen, Der Kribbebeter, dies at 84. In 1940, Catharina van Rens, Dutch composer, dies at 82. In 1943, Ernie Jones, Australian cricket fast bowler, 19 Tests, 64 wickets, first bowler to be called for throwing in a test, dies at 74. In 1946, Fawzi Husseini, Arabic high director for Palestine, murdered. American Baseball Hall of Fame outfielder, MLB single-season record 191 RBI 1930, NL HR leader 1926-28, 30, NL RBI leader 1929, 30, Chicago Cubs, dies of internal hemorrhaging at 48. In 1948, Stanner E.V. Tiller, American director and screenwriter, Lucky,